We were told recently that apparently 1/3 of the landfill in Lusaka is organic matter. It shouldn't be going to landfill. The organic matter is so precious to put back into the soil, so why send it to some landfill? And yeah.
So what do we have here?
Okay, so these are our compost heaps. So these are all pretty new heaps. We ended up with a mountain we got a bit behind. So the guys have just recently layered all of this. So as you can see, it's all the leaves and sticks and plants. And so we do a layer about 20 centimeters high and then put a thin layer of manure. Can be chicken manure, cow manure, cattle manure, horse manure, any manure. We put the manure, then we put another layer of about 20 centimeters high, and then we put EMs. You don't have to put EMs, but we just using it as an alternative to just manure. The EMs, because of all the microbes,
they speed up the process.
To speed up the process. So they've just recently layered all of this, so it's all pretty much at the same stage. And then we'll turn it over in probably a month. It's a little bit slower in winter, but yeah, so it must be damp. So we give it a good soaking and then we cover it with this UV plastic, but you can also cover it with sacks, or if you've got a lot of dry grass, cover it with dry grass just to keep the moisture in.
I mean, this is 4 large piles of compost. How long did it take for you to gather this, or do you gather for several months and then sit down?
No, we're actually gathering continuously.
Okay, and then you just come and add?
Yeah, so even in winter now, we're always doing some cutting back, because with the size of the garden and the amount of growth in the garden, we are constantly, and we actually struggle to keep up. So yeah, we've got this, and then we've got some more big, huge heaps as well, because sometimes you have a tree that falls down, or a part of a tree that falls down, or you take out a big shrub or something. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So yeah, we just constantly, we've got one guy that just makes compost.
Wow. And so how do you manage? Because I know when you get your dry matter, your leaf matter, you got big chunk, like you said, you can have branches and whatever. Do you shred it? Do you grind it?
We've got a shredder. We'll go past it just now. But we don't shred everything. They actually haven't chopped this up enough. But some of the bigger stuff they just chop with a machete, panga. And then when we've got a lot of leaves, like in winter, and there's just too many to cope with, then we shred them. Yeah, but the chopping up works as well. You know, it doesn't have to be tiny.
And time-wise then, what does it look like? Because this looks like it would take months.
Yeah, so you're probably looking at, I would say, 4 months from when you start the heap to turning it and then to turning it again. You're probably looking at about 4 months. Might be a bit quicker in the rainy season when it's very hot and steamy.
I'm just digging underneath, see what's going on. I see lots of little insects making use of, you know, what goodies are there. But like underneath here, if you look at what's happening so far, you can see evidence of termite action. Oh, look, I even have a worm.
Yeah, earthworm.
You know?
Yeah, so it should have lots of earthworms in. Yeah, and we do put cardboard on the compost as well, because we obviously, with 4 houses on the property, we're trying to manage the garbage that we don't want to just send it all to landfill. So we've taught the guys that cardboard, but he should have actually torn it up smaller. And yeah, we put cardboard onto the compost.
Yeah, so
and then from all
is this something that will eventually break down, or someone's going to come and cut this down?
He should have actually chopped it smaller. So I will actually tell him he needs to come and chop
it. Well, regardless, I think this is fantastic, because you know, for an average garden, you know, I know lots of people raking up leaves. People actually taking this material and putting it in bags to go to the landfill.
Yes.
You know,
and that's why
and that's really dangerous. I don't know if people know.
So apparently, we were told recently that apparently 1/3 of the landfill in Lusaka is organic matter. Absolutely pathetic and ridiculous. It shouldn't be going to landfill. So yeah, that's why we're doing our project, to really try and push.
And it's
compost.
one of the reasons why organic matter shouldn't be going to landfill is just because of that methane gas. It just makes the whole pile of garbage much more flammable. That's why we have these big fires that we cannot put out, because there's so much for the fire to feed on. In terms
I mean,
of
it's so precious. The organic matter is so precious to put back into the soil. So why send it to some landfill? And
exactly.
The palm leaves are a little bit difficult to shred. They're tough to shred, but you can just chop them. But even something like this, even if it wasn't on the compost heap, if we just left it in a bundle, the hard woody stuff, the termites climb into it and they will break it down. And it's also all good stuff going back into the soil. What the termites do.
Okay, so then what's happening over on this end over here?
They're all pretty much the same here, but then I'll show you. This one is compost, which is now ready to use. This is comfrey over here.
Oh, okay.
So comfrey, you can actually put comfrey into your compost as well, and it speeds up the process, the rotting process, but we kind of overused it. So I
actually just take the green and put it direct on my veggie beds and have it just decompose there.
Nitrogen. Nitrogen. So this compost is ready. So you see, it has got quite a lot of sticks and stuff in it still, but it's fine. I mean, if we wanted to use it for potting, then we would just sieve it a bit more. That's our sieve over there, just expanded metal, I think it's called.
And like people buy this for like, I don't know, I know people are selling compost 50 kwacha a bag.
Yes.
You know, whereas with a bit of patience, using what you have, you can recreate.
You can see how it's so nice and loose and friable. It doesn't stick together. It's not clayey at all. And I'm sure if you rummage in there, there'll be earthworms. And then the secret is also, once it's ready, you must keep it damp because it's living. There are creatures living in there. So it mustn't be left to get dry. So we keep stressing.
And even aerate it. Don't put it in a plastic bag and seal it. Because once again,
so ours just stays here and they'll water
And one thing that someone actually did tell me a while ago is that with this compost, it's the solution for all bad soil. So whether you got sandy soil or clay soil, if you just keep adding compost, organic matter, that will eventually kind of bring it back to where it should be. You know, but it does take patience. It does take patience.
That's chicken manure over there.
Okay. So you keep chickens, or you buy your chicken manure?
No, we've got our few little bantams, and then we've got, how many? I think 7 dogs on the property. So we pick up all the dogs' mess and the chickens' mess, and then they clean out the chicken's house, and that all goes onto the compost. But then it's not enough, so we buy in chicken manure. We would buy kraal manure if we could find it, but there's just more chicken farms around. So.
Do you teach anyone else about compost? Like, we just like your neighbors or your
so we had a problem with someone up the road burning, and we were getting all the smoke coming into our property and our house, and so we sent one of our guys up to go and call the gardener, and we brought him here and we showed him our garden and explained to him about compost. He honestly didn't know anything better.
It looks like you've got like a graveyard, dead bodies. Sorry.
I suppose we could tell the thieves that. Have you seen that place? They keep dead bodies.
Those are the people that trespass. No, I think it is nice because it gives some perspective in terms of how much work is required to create compost. But also when you see your beds and how green and lush everything is, you know, this is the secret, and it's worth I mean, I don't know if anyone ever has done the maths, but it's definitely worth investing in.
Oh yeah, definitely, I mean, for one salary a month, because it's one guy who pretty much does our compost. So you're paying that one salary, you'd be spending a lot more than that on buying compost for this size garden.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is our building dumping site. Gonna get irrigated.
Nice.
So I'm just trying to, because this is like a working area, I'm trying to just make a bit of a sort of walk through, so like our tenants can have a loop where they can walk through. So we've just planted this bit of lawn here, and then we've done bananas to screen off the compost.
Okay.
And then there's a path that comes through there. So eventually it'll be, I've just put a few smallish trees there, so to screen this all. So.
You know, this pales, you know, I saw the 4 big piles over there, and I thought that was impressive. Yeah. This is where the real stuff happens. So
yeah, this is all the, but you see, this is the difficult stuff, all this big stuff. But anyway, they're working through it. I don't know where they are. I can't actually hear anything.
And I can see why you need one person specifically for compost.
And he was actually getting behind, because I think he was just daunted by this.
There's a lot, especially with the wood. But you have this amazing gadget here.
Yes. So that's the shredder.
Where did you get this, by the way?
From South Africa.
Oh,
yeah, it's got a contact thing on it somewhere.
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah, lawnmower land. Yeah. So that's the pile of leaves, and then that's what it comes out as.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it just then rots.
Sorry,
so
Jonathan,
much.
just grab a shot of this composted leaves.
Leaves once they shred it.
So literally from this, kind of this to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then it'll just rot down so much quicker. Yeah. Someone's through there. So we've actually put drip irrigation under this plastic on this huge heap.
So you don't have to water.
So big, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is impressive.
Yeah. And then people always ask me, but on a property like this with all the trees and bush, aren't you scared of snakes? And as I said recently, well, no, I mean, we see snakes, we see spitting cobras every now and then. And years ago, I saw a boomslang when I was in the garden once, and a vine snake. But they're very shy, and all I do is I make noise as I walk into the bed. I make a bit of noise and move things, and they move off.
Because I see your dog's getting excited, so I'm sure
she hunts. She's a pointer, so she likes to hunt. She's probably sniffing out rats or giant rats.
Yeah, no. Well, good luck to her trying to get to them. All right.